Today, we're tackling the biggest fears I hear about from my clients, like navigating the parks, embracing the wizarding world as a non fan, and grappling with the pressure of a perfect vacation. Let's get started.
Welcome to Unlocking Universal, your key to Universal Orlando. I'm Holly, an OG Universal fan, Orlando local, and professional destination specialist. I've spent years helping people just like you plan their most epic vacations, and now I'm coming straight to your earballs. Because you've got big memories to make, I'm here to help you make the most of every moment. Say hello to your unfair advantage. Your time is valuable. I don't do small talk. Let's jump in.
So, what I decided to do this week was to put together some of the most asked questions that I get from my very own clients. Now, I've been planning Universal Orlando Resort vacations for many years now for guests and for myself, of course. But there's a lot of things that I hear over and over, and sometimes it's an actual barrier to guests wanting to plan a trip, and sometimes it's just these little things that kind of sit in the back of your head. So I kind of boiled it down to the top 5, and I'm going to share those with you today. The very first one that we're going to talk about is the feeling of being intimidated by Universal's planning process. Now, that may seem a little weird in and of itself, but if you are accustomed to planning a Walt Disney World trip, then this might make a little more sense to you because those can be a lot more involved. And Universal's planning process can feel overwhelming, especially if you're coming from that world of Disney, which we absolutely love, but where it may seem like you need a PhD or spreadsheets to even get in the door. Pair that with the fear of the unknown, and it can be super, super intimidating. The good news, if you're used to Disney, Universal's planning process will feel like a breeze. Universal is way simpler and so much more flexible too. No setting alarms for dark 30 and scrambling when your dining window opens. You're not beholden to an app telling you what time you can or cannot ride a particular ride. With Universal, the proximity of the parks means that you're skipping the downtime of all those cross-park treks. And spreadsheets, they're a memory. Unless that's your jam, then spreadsheet away, my friend. Plus, with Universal's system for shorter ride queues, called Express Pass, you ride when you choose. Dining reservations for Universal Orlando, in-park, City Walk, and at the hotels do not resemble a 1984 Toys R Us rush for Cabbage Patch Kids, like it still can seem for guests that are trying to get Cinderella's Royal Table, for example. No, it's way more chill over here, and while you can make reservations beginning at 180 days out, if you want, it's rarely necessary to make them more than a couple of weeks ahead. And here's a sweet perk. If you're a guest of certain on-site hotels, you'll even get preferred seating when you walk up. Day of. And speaking of feeling like you own the place, let's tackle the next challenge: how to navigate the parks without feeling completely lost. I often hear from my clients that lack of familiarity with the parks can be a source of anxiety for them. So if you're new to Universal, it's easy to feel like you're stepping into uncharted waters. But here's the thing. Universal makes it really easy to navigate. Between a very robust app, which is your best on-the-grounds guide, clear and abundant signage, and helpful team members, you're never more than a few steps away from figuring out where to go next. And if you're worried about the feeling of being left out of all the Harry Potter magic because you're not a super fan, don't be. Even if you're not a Wizarding World aficionado, you'll feel like one after your first butterbeer. Let's talk about why the Wizarding World is still worth it, even if you don't know your Patronus. The Wizarding World of Harry Potter is such a huge draw at Universal Orlando Resort, and that's for very, very good reason. But you might be surprised how often I hear from my guests, especially when they're traveling with larger parties where we have some so big super fans of Harry Potter, and then we have people in the party that are like, yeah, I don't even know what this is. And there's this fear of not fully getting the Wizarding World of Harry Potter and the experience of being there. But here's the truth. The Wizarding World is magical for everyone, whether you're a diehard fan or you don't know your Patronus from a pumpkin pasty. With stunning, intricate detail and immersive experiences everywhere you look, it is a must-see for everyone, whether you're familiar with it or not. You're going to be stepping foot into an amazing world of magic like you've never experienced. But you have to remember that this is just one piece of your Universal vacation puzzle. You don't have to be a diehard fan to have an amazing time. The point is, even if you don't have the frame of reference for, hashtag all things Harry Potter, you're still going to be able to appreciate it. Just like if you went to visit friends somewhere strange and beautiful that you'd never been before. For those looking to add a little extra magic, here's a quick assignment. And don't worry, it's fun. So if you haven't done it and you're worried about what it's going to be like, I recommend that you start the book series before you go. The audiobooks count. Plus, they're read by Jim Dale, which, if you're not familiar with him, he's an incredibly talented voice actor and he's just a wonderful narrator overall. So you could do that. You could watch a couple of the movies before your trip. It'll make the whole experience even more special because it's going to give you some context. Is it necessary? No. But, if you want to do a little extra, here's my pro tip though for my Wizarding World virgins. Try this. Read the first book. It's very, very short. Go on your trip, be blown away, and then watch the first movie. It's like you're going to get to experience that joy of discovery 3 times, 3 separate times for like basically the same thing. And seriously, if you are not a Potterhead after that, I think we may have to get Madame Pomfrey involved. And of course, these are in no particular order, but the fourth one that we're going to talk about now is when guests come to me because they have gotten conflicting advice in online fan groups. And if you know me, I'm not a very big fan of these online fan groups. And that's not to say that there aren't some really, really good ones out there, some really responsible ones, but they're basically online fan groups can be a mixed bag. While some advice is helpful, other times it's like walking right into a sneaky little dumpster fire. Here's the deal. Take online advice with a very large grain of salt. There are so many individualized variables at play. Every trip is different, and what works for one person might not work for you. Heck, what works for someone on one trip may not work for them on the next. Why? Because every trip has a goal. Think about it. It could be to ride all the thrill rides. It could be to hang out with the girls and just really enjoy your resort and meander through the parks. It could be do all the things all the times, as many times as you possibly can. There are so many different goals. And when you nail down that goal, it changes how everything else needs to fall into place. And that's really super important. So my remedy for this is to instead stick to trusted resources. Stick to trusted resources like official resources, Universal blog, a good travel planner, or podcasts like this one. Even head on over to YouTube for some visual advice if that's your thing. I know it's mine. I love it. Just be sure you have that same grain of salt on hand and click off if the host seems too negative. There's a lot of that out there and nobody needs that. Ooh, let's stop for a quick commercial break. So yeah, you want to avoid falling into the trap of planning your vacation based on a one-size-fits-all advice. Every trip is unique, and it's okay. Nay, it's imperative to make decisions that fit your family's needs and preferences. All that conflicting advice can leave you feeling like your trip has to be picture perfect. Let's take a look at that. I left this one for last because I think that perfectionism itself is something that we deal with on all kinds of levels, not just vacations. But I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Perfectionism is overrated. So the pressure to have a perfect vacation can be very daunting, especially to, the mom or the dad or the grandma, grandpa, uncle, whoever is doing the majority of the planning, whether you're working with a travel professional or not, whoever is that point of contact, it's a lot, right? You feel that. You can feel that weight on your shoulders. But it's like this. The perfect vacation is like chasing a unicorn. It's a magical idea, but it's not real. What is real? The laughter, the memories, and the magic you create together. That's the key, together. Sure, you want to ride all the big attractions, catch the Hogwarts Express, and eat every single snack that you've seen on Instagram. That's cool. But sometimes, despite our best planning, our best efforts, and doing all the things to be prepared, things don't go according to plan. And that's okay. The best vacation isn't about perfection. It's about presence. And that's what Universal is all about for me. Big and small moments that we'll carry with us forever. This is where the magic is. You're not going to find it in the lines of a spreadsheet. Not that I have anything against spreadsheets, but that's not where the magic is. You have to look up to see it. Whether it's watching your kids' faces light up in Diagon Alley for the first time or hearing your hubby scream like a little girl on the Velocicoaster, yeah, I'm talking about you, Brian. Or just soaking in the atmosphere together, that's the good stuff. Let go of the pressure to do it all perfectly. Focus on allowing the moments that matter to unfold. Because that is the day you have to make those memories. The best vacation isn't about perfection. It's all about presence. Laugh, play, connect, and let the magic happen. That's exactly why I'm here doing this. It's my heartfelt passion to do what I can to take the stress out of planning and help you be able to focus on what really matters. Because when the planning is easier and you're confident of your choices and you know someone's in your corner if you should need them, you're free to just enjoy the moment. That is why I do what I do. Universal makes me happy. Helping you enjoy Universal more makes me happy. So obviously this is all extremely selfish. So there's that. The key is to take a step back, focus on what matters to you and what matters to your family. And remember that Universal is all about the fun and the flexibility. Thank you for joining me here today for this flyby of some of the most common causes of overwhelm that guests come to me with. If this has been fun or helpful, please take a second to hit that follow button so you can laugh with me or at me. I'm okay with both. And if you do, I can guarantee that your next wait time estimates will be all under 10 minutes. It's totally science, I swear. Don't forget to send your questions my way. I might just answer them in a future episode. You'll find me on Instagram and YouTube at unlocking_universal. Now get out there and do something nice for somebody.